Aloha, aloha, welcome. Miss Cassie is in a mood and a half. I just literally brought out her favorite treats, and one of the dogs walked by, and she's like, "Rah, rah, rah," and I'm like, uh-huh. See if I treat you nice anymore, Miss Cassie. And aloha, aloha, and welcome, gang. Here we are. It's an Aloha Friday. Yes, and I am ready for it. I am definitely. Next week's gonna be fun because I gotta get finished packing. That thing's gonna be packed in a couple more days. And I'm leaving on a jet plane. Oh, yes. I will be leaving because I just noticed he's in chat right now. Dear Robbie and dear Michael are going to be getting married. And I can't wait. Oh my God, I can't wait, guys. And I'm gonna get to meet so many of the people that I have considered my friends and family for like forever, it feels like. I mean, well, 2 years, forever. Yeah, it works. And people like, I know Rosaling's going to be there. And then so most of the people will be in Cantina that fall into that group. But yes, I get to see them. I get to see them. But here, let's say hi to who we got. La Princesa, first person in chat. I can always depend on the princess herself. Yes, yes, yes. Hello, hello, my dear. Hope you're having a good week and you're ready for a weekend. Aw, princess, thank you. I got my booster shot yesterday and I'm feeling it. Not as bad as I did in the past. In the past, I would have high fever. This time, no high fever, but I can feel something working in my body differently. So, yeah. But I'm here. Yes. Who else we got here? I think Sherry was, yep, Sherry was next doing all her good hard work there. I was like, hey, we got a Sherry in chat. So we got 3 of us. So it's now officially a party. And now we got 8 of us here. So see, here we go. And okay, Cassie, would you stop it? I know you want all the goodies, but I got to say hi to them. Yes, oh, now Pia's going to join in. Uh-huh, there is in the bushes. How you doing, my dear? You too, Mama Jane. Oh, yeah, it's really, yeah. I hate filling you up, but there is Seal, not Otter, but Seal. And I love seals. What can I say? Everyone has their little totem animal. Okay, they're kind of spirit animal. And otters and seals are two. Yeah, I love that. That mountain lion. Mountain lion's my other side. So, but anyhow, who else we got here? We said hi. Thanks at everyone. There's our dear Robbie. Hello, my dear Robbie. And I think I saw Rosaline there. Okay, would you guys stop it? Oh my, Lone Wolf. Oh my, thank you. You're gonna make me cry again. I mean that. Thank you so much. See, early bird gets the worm. Get here early and see what happens when you get here early. And guys, please send major hugs and all that to Lone Wolf. Not only is Lone Wolf supporting this community by doing what they just did there with the gifted subs, but they are always there in the chat. They're in my Discord, posting links and stuff like that, and just helping to support everyone with information and support, because it's not just on the missing stuff. They're there to help out with ideas when it comes to mental health things and the connection between them and so many other things. So, Lone Wolf, thank you so much, my dear. Thank you. And yes, really thank you. Would you stop it? Oh my gosh. Okay, are you saying hi and thank you? Okay, let me give them full ones. Maybe that'll help them. Mama Jane, yeah, I hope you start feeling better too, Mama Jane. And I love you, my dear. But yeah, please feel good. For those of you who are getting memberships, who just got a membership in, we have a special private folder in Discord, and that I'd love to get us a little more active in. And just for those of you who are members, where we can come and have a little bit more privacy, where we can sit and talk story and get to know each other and hang out and do fun stuff. And also, let me know if you're in Discord. I will post the link again for Discord. Discord is for everyone. Everyone can belong to Discord. In fact, let me do that real quickly for y'all. But everyone, please join us in Discord. Everyone's invited, whether you're a member or not. The folder For members is just one separate folder just for members. So let me see. There we go. And yes, Oscar, we are having Cantina tonight. Hopefully I will stay energetic. Cerberus is here. Cerberus joined Discord the other day. And I can't wait. I don't know if I'm going to get to connect with you while we're all there, but I'm hoping. I'm hoping. And who else? We got Oscar. Yes, everyone is doing great so far. Oopsie, Cassie. Here, sorry. By the way, guess what? Someone got stitches out. So I don't mind showing it to you guys anymore, but the thing, sorry, I can't bend it beyond this place right here. But the stitches were from there to there pretty much. But hey, it's getting there. It's feeling better. Hopefully it'll be better and better every week. But I don't have stitches for once, and I'm so happy. So happy. So, oh, Sleuth Mom popped in. Hello, 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 Miss Sleuth. I hope you are having a good day. Yes, 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 Oscar. Next week is Las Vegas, and I can't wait. I just called the hotel to verify some stuff because I won't be arriving till 2 in the morning. And I need to make sure that they don't give away my room before that. So they have all the notes about that now. So we are good. So let me start switching ourselves over, switch the tracks right now into our mental health. By the way, tonight I am going to be having fun with new diamond paintings. These are the new ones I'm working on. They're really cute. Oh, that's adorable. I think they are so cute. So I'm working on these right now. That I'll be doing tonight during Cantina. So fingers are drunk, don't mind you. Okay, that works, Sleuth. Okay, you know what? It's better if you're drunk, but if your fingers, hey, you're partially there. Okay, just give it one or two more drinks, and I'm joking with you, girl. I love you. So, you need a pack, Oscar. You got it. So, as we switch tracks now into the mental health stream portion of this, there is a YouTuber that I watch, Julia Christina, and she's amazing. Oh my God, she's so good at what she does. And she just truly amazing. And she put out a video actually yesterday about this subject. And this is a subject that I literally deal with almost daily because I am like extremely emotionally reactive when it comes to my family. My poor mom has to deal with me. Oh my gosh. I do things that I'll honestly, okay, so many people will say, oh yeah, Loca, you're so calm, you're so this, and you don't ever say anything mean and all. I'm like, oh, don't say that to my mom because she'd tell you the truth. And it's just this thing with my family. I tend to have a much, I will say things that I don't think first about. And it's something I've really had to deal with lately because as she has had hearing issues going on, I find a lot of times she'll do something that pisses me off or something like that, and I respond rather than thinking first. I become very reactive. So when I saw Julia doing this yesterday, I was like, okay, the universe is talking to me. I need to be looking at this because I literally was out with mom all day yesterday. I need to be looking at this. So I watched her video and then I started doing research. I started hitting up Google, doing research, and this is what's come out of that research. So, yeah, that's where I am with it. By the way, KKK, how you doing? KKK is here. Okay, whatever. You know what I mean. I love you, girl. I love you, and I'm so happy to hear things are kind of pulling together in a positive direction right now for you. So, just a reminder for everyone, okay, guys, the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there for us. And I know we had this discussion on Wednesday where we had a community member say, yeah, I actually called it recently. And I was so proud of that person for being able to do that because it's hard. For any one of us who have ever called a hotline, it's one of the hardest things you will ever do because you are so worried about so many things, okay, and how it'll be taken and all these things, but it's so good that you do that. And I was so proud of them for doing that. So as a reminder, guys, hey, Burden, how you doing, Burden? Love you, my dear. Okay, I still can't. Oh, wait. Oh, my God. I can actually get a heart again. Oh, my God. Okay, sorry. Sorry. I have not been bending my finger too much until now. And I can't straighten it beyond that. But, oh, my God. I could bend. Okay, sorry. I just got excited. But anyhow, hello, Burden. And also, coffee, first cup of coffee today. I haven't had no coffee all day. It's pretty bad. So, please, guys, if you find yourself triggering or something like that, yes, Burton, that's me. And please contact them. Okay, as I said before, we are an amazing group of friends and support within our group here, but none of us are professionals. None of us are. And there come times that we feel like we want to help, but we're not sure what else we can do. Okay. Or God forbid, we have hundreds, and in my case, thousands of miles difference. And sometimes you need something closer. And also, please use that 988. So let's start this off. What is emotional reactivity? As I kind of mentioned with my mom, okay, my mom is very hard of hearing. I mean, completely deaf in one ear, 80% in the other ear. That's why when she comes in to say hi, she doesn't get the idea that my mouth is moving, which means I'm talking. And she goes and talks instead. But I find myself a lot of times right here in this area, where basically what happens is when we are stressed, angry, hurt, whatever it is, it doesn't even have to be with that person. It's just something is going on within us at that moment. And someone says something, someone does something, whatever it is, and we overreact impulsively. Okay, we haven't planned it out or anything like that. We just act. Okay. And usually it's because what happens is when we're in those positions and we're not thinking ahead, we are acting off of fight or flight. Okay, when I'm waking up in the morning and I'm half asleep and mom is going off on nagging on something. Okay, I'll use the word nagging on something. Hello, LG, I love you, my dear. Love you, love you, love you. And she then says something to me on it. I find myself just impulsively getting mad at her, and she did not mean anything negative. She was just making a comment. I just feel comfortable with her, so I found myself in that position. So that's what emotional reactivity is when we do this. We could find ourselves doing this at work. Okay, maybe you are so happy about getting to go home at the end of the day. You're like, oh my gosh, it's Friday. I'm finally going to be out of here. I can go home. I can do all these things and stuff like that. I'm just so excited. And then all of a sudden, the boss walks up 10 minutes before you're ready to clock out. And it's like, oh, you know what? I need you to do this one last report. And you snap. Okay, or come near snapping. That's emotional reactivity. And so knowing what that is, it's something all of us do. Every single one of us have had this happen at one time or another. The key with like any type of communication, what is important is we understand where it's coming from, okay, so that we can make changes moving forwards, knowing that all of us are on this journey. Okay, like I said, I don't know if I've ever actually told you guys. Okay, when I was on the Delphi forums long time ago and started up a forum for those who are healing from trauma and stuff, it was called Healing Horizons. Okay, there was a sub one called Survivor's Journey. And it's because the horizon is out there, but no matter where you go, that horizon moves. Okay, you're moving in the same direction. And but you know, there's always something to reach for. And a journey is just that. You never quite will reach certain journeys. You're making this journey forward and you're learning things on that trip. But there's always something more. There's something else we can move towards. And that's how I see healing. That's how I see our lives just on mental health level. Wrigley, would you stop it, little boy? Oh my God, you are so noisy. So, what are recognizing what emotional reactivity is? What are some of the signs and about, okay, when it comes to emotional reactivity? That you can look and all of a sudden be able to say, "Hey, Boots, how you doing, Boots? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Aloha Friday." And what are some of the symptoms? Okay, not symptom signs, because it's not a disease. It's just something we have to learn how to work with. And so, Oscar, I'm not sure. He might be busy right now or maybe coming later. I'm not sure. So, first of all, I find, especially with me, okay, when I'm being emotionally reactive, I tend to get upset at the slightest thing. Literally, the slightest thing. Okay, it'll be a case where I'm busy in the morning and mom makes herself a cup of coffee at the Keurig and doesn't make me a cup of coffee, even though I made her a cup of coffee the day before. Okay, the slightest little thing tends to trigger an emotional reaction like this. Um, it could be something that yesterday we were out shopping. Okay, and she starts telling the lady behind the cash register my whole life story. And I'm like, what the? Okay, I'm happy about that, LG. Yeah, we'll talk later for sure. Um, she's telling the cash register lady my whole story. It's nothing to be upset about, but oh my gosh, it pissed me off. And I had to pull myself backwards for a few minutes just to calm myself down. The next is your reaction is often out of proportion to the situation. Okay, i.e., mom doesn't make me coffee, so I go into a full blown tantrum about how I'm doing everything around the house and da 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 da, and I'm going all over the place about this. Okay, a lot of times, again, the whole idea about emotional reactivity is you're reacting off of your emotions. You're not giving yourself a time to sit back and think things through. So all that is speaking is your gut, is that primal side that each of us have, that primal side that gets angry, that primal side that does all those other things, okay, rather than sitting back first. Um, Next, you might also find yourself storming off in a cloud of self righteousness. Okay, something doesn't go again according to plan. You have in your head eye what that perfect plan is going to look like and exactly how everything's going to fall in place and how people are going to respond to you and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, everything falls apart. And maybe it's just a little bit, but it's just enough that you're like, all of this is not, I had all these things planned, and just because you had to go say things that way, now this is happening and stuff like that. So it's this, again, I had everything perfect. What happened? Why did it fall apart? Type of idea. Next is, and this is where I tend to go, especially with mom and sometimes my brother also. I believe that the circumstances, what's happening around things, are caused by other reactions at all that I have no control over. I am a control freak, gang. I need to have control over everything that's going on around me. I've just always been that way, always will be that way. If I feel like I'm out of control, I will respond like crazy. Okay, how many control freaks do we have in chat right now? Put a 1 in chat if you are a control freak when it comes to feeling like things are okay and all. Put a 2 in chat if you're like, whatever happens, happens. I'm cool with it. I can roll with the punches. Love to see how people are with that, because I know there's difference. My brother used to be a total roll with the punches type. Totally rolls with the punches. Let me see. While you guys are doing that, I just saw a comment up there. Look what's coming. You got it. LG, I think I've also got a copy of them in the mod chat if you take a look over there. So, okay, there we got some ones right there. So, Yeah. So, what happens a lot of times with emotional reactivity is we start noticing where things aren't falling in place the way we want them. And that makes us feel completely out of control. Like we are just bouncing around on in the ocean, out in the middle of the ocean, and every wave is going to hit us, every this. We kind of start seeing everything as a hurricane going on around us. Okay, every comment people make is going to frustrate us and get us upset. Okay, there's got to be ulterior motives with things. There's got to be this. There's got to be, it just becomes this huge thing that it takes us, once we step back for a second and we're like, okay, let's take a look at what just happened. And then we start saying, oh, wait, all that really happened wrong was so and so didn't understand what I was talking about. Mom didn't understand this when I did that. So it's just really, oh no, Mama Jane, you have three of your neighbors' cows in your yard. Oh my God, now that's something I'm not used to whatsoever, hearing people talk about cows in their yard. So this is one I know my mom has to do with me quite often, gang. And I feel so guilty about this. Do you ever get in that feeling that your loved one, and usually it's loved ones because we tend to be this way, at least I see, around those we care about the most because we feel comfortable around them. We feel comfortable being our most horrible looking person in front of those that we know we trust the most. And there are so many times I feel that is mom having to walk on eggshells around me. Okay, we get into these arguments about hearing, for example, and it's like, is she saying she heard what I said just because she knows I'm going to get mad if I don't say, if she doesn't hear, but then I want her to speak, or all these things. So it just builds up this thing, and that's where part of the problem with emotional reactivity becomes, because the people we are reactive towards start tiptoeing around us because they don't want, they're worried about what's going to happen if that we blow up at them. Okay, so there becomes this little thing, and I know I feel horrible about, I was telling mom about this actually a few days ago, okay, when we had something happen, and it's something I've been working on really hard with her. And next is becoming defensive, resentful, and if we feel someone has criticized us. So again, I think it comes down to the feeling of control and stuff like that. You want to know that you know what's going on around you and stuff. You put plans into things like that. And when we are being emotionally reactive, a lot of times that comes out of hurt. So if we feel in having a discussion with someone that that person is being angry against us, upset at us, mad at us, if they're seeing us in a way that we don't see ourselves and we're being seen in a bad light, we may find ourselves being reactive back. Okay, because we're hurt, our emotions get hurt, so we respond back. Children are, so with this emotional reactivity, I think a lot of it actually does start in our childhood. And it's things that some of us recognize as the time goes on. Some of us don't quite, okay, grab onto it, or we learn how to keep it during work versus not work, or things like that. For me, I do really good out in the workplace. But if you put me with my brother or my mom, probably not the best. Okay, just using myself as an example here. Also, rage, anger, it doesn't take much to have us blow up. Okay, when you are emotionally reactive, you're reacting like that. Again, it's impulsive. It's this impulsive thing. Someone says something, and you could go from 1 to 10 just like that. because the emotion is what's being caught at that point. Whether that emotion is an emotion based off of anger, okay, mad at someone saying something about you, okay, in the case yesterday with mom when she started telling people about my personal life history and all, or if it is a hurt thing, maybe someone says something and you're immediately hurt by it because you feel that person is saying something that, hey, Robin and Gladys, welcome you both, welcome. As someone who's being emotionally reactive, you just jump to that. If you're hurt by a comment someone says, rather than taking the step, and we're going to talk about responding now next, but that's why I kind of wanted to speed through that first part. If you're hurt, you're angry, something like that, you're not really looking at why it led to where it led. You're just focused on the fact that I'm hurt right now, I'm mad right now, and I'm not going to let, okay, I'm not letting it go. I'm going to blow up. I'm going to do whatever it is that I need to do right now. That's the emotional reactivity bit. So recognizing that within ourselves, because I think all of us do it somewhere in some relationship we have, whether it's a husband wife relationship, okay, a significant other type relationship, family, friends, work. I'll be honest, I had a couple staff members that truly would be emotionally reactive. And I would have to learn, I actually learned from them. There were some people I knew never to approach on a Friday within 30 minutes of getting off work because they would flip out if I approached them at that time. So I tried to work with that. Boots, it does sound like YouTube, and I think that's part of a lot of what we see. Okay, and that's one reason why I come here, because I do think this is something that all of us deal with at times. And why don't we try to look at these things and address it? Because do these emotions, when we are emotionally reactive, are they beneficial? Are we getting anything positive out of these relationships when we do this way? Am I getting anything positive out of me and my mom having a fight because she didn't make me coffee in the morning? Okay. Or I didn't understand when she was making this one comment that she was just trying to have talk story or something. Okay. In the end, emotional reactivity can cause a lot of questions and damage actually to each of us. Okay, if you are the one being emotionally reactive, you might find yourself just in that negativity zone. Okay, yeah, maybe coffee the next day. Wouldn't that be nice? Exactly. I mean, come on, she makes me coffee. How many times she brings me in coffee while I'm making thumbnails? But I just blow up. I literally blew up the other day about it, and it's so stupid, but I did it. And so, on one level, I start feeling worse and worse about it myself. Like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. I could not just calm down and just give it a couple minutes break. Okay. And we're always saying we're our worst enemies. Okay. I will see myself so much worse than yeah, caffeine withdrawal. Exactly. That's it. That's why I have my coffee right now. And also, you get to this thing where you start, I am so myself, and I know many of you guys have said the same thing. You're very, very hard on yourself. Sorry, Cassie wants to come up with me. You're very, very hard on yourself. So you get harder and harder on yourself and thinking, well, what if I had done this differently? What if I had done that differently and all? And then on the other side, yes, you have people who might feel like they have to start walking on eggshells around you. You may find yourself, oh, and here they go, mom, go run over to them. And also, you might find, okay, if you know someone is going to be emotionally reactive, you might get to the point, like I said, I had an employee that I got to the point where I was like, oh, there's no way I'm even going to ask them to do anything within the last 30 minutes of work because hell's going to break loose. And I really don't want to deal with that right now, even though it was work. Okay, maybe it's a friendship, okay, or something like that. Boots, you were making the comment there. all of us have this stuff on YouTube and everything. And when we get some of the stuff that's been going on in some of the communities lately, people start, even friends start with things. And it's just, it's hard because we all care about each other. But it's that idea of, oh my gosh, what do I say? Can I say, what if I say it wrong? What if the person sees this wrong? Whatever. And we start questioning ourselves. So, how do we change that? Because again, we can't change others. All we can do is change ourselves. I can change how I address things. I can change the way things affect me. Okay, I can make a decision to be a victim in my life or not to be a victim in my life. Okay, we have those capabilities within us. So, the first and probably most important thing as we're going through this and trying to figure out how do we become less emotionally reactive is recognizing we need to respond, not react. Reacting is what just comes without thinking. Reacting is impulsive. Reacting doesn't take in everything going on. It doesn't take in whether or not a person is having a really bad day, or if there was something that might have triggered them in what was said. And LG just said, what do we do when we've tried everything we know how to, when it's in it? That's where the problem comes in. As we go through this, we'll see if there's anything new ideas you have here. Because I know I've got to do some work on this. I definitely need to. I got to understand it's not my mom's fault that she can't hear things that I'm saying to her. And she says yes. Well, that's her issue. She needs to learn. Don't say yes if you haven't actually heard me say something. And don't just try to placate. And those, but that, if we do some of the things I'm going to be talking about, that becomes part of the discussion. Rather than holding it inside, we're able to discuss it and figure out how we can address it moving forward. So first, responding rather than reacting. The first thing, and probably the most important to recognize when we're doing anything like this, is for you to look at your life and look at how you react to things. You may have to reframe how you experience life. Okay, you may normally see things in a certain way, but you may have to be open to the fact that there's other ways of seeing things. There's other ways of doing things. And that's part of growth in general. That's part of growth, understanding that there's so many other possibilities out there. And dealing with each person is dealing with things differently. And also knowing you're not a victim of circumstance. Okay, a lot of times, especially with reactive thinking, we get in this idea that everything's happening to us. Okay, when my mom didn't make the coffee, it happened to me. When mom was telling them about that, it happened to me. When my brother was making the comment about this, that happened to me. Okay, I have to step back and realize I'm not a victim of these circumstances. Instead, I can choose how I respond to those circumstances. Okay, if things don't go the way I want them to go, I can make a decision how I'm going to respond to that. And that's the part that is hard, because to do that, you have to give it the time. You can't be impulsive and do that, okay? Because the impulsivity is what makes things happen quick versus taking a second, thinking it through, and then moving forward. Because moving forward is important also in understanding so things don't continue. And so as we're going through these things, let me pull my notes. Sorry, guys, my hands were hurting like crazy, so I had to limit some of my banners from normal. So I am going to good old-fashioned note keeping and typing from here. So the first thing to recognize when we're trying to respond rather than react is to start with active listening. From the time we are in school, we are taught how to actively listen. Okay, think about it. When you were in school and you were sitting here like this and the teacher was up there and you're just like this. and the teacher would say, excuse me, loco, what did I just say? And you're like, oh shit, I don't know. I was listening though. I was watching, I was listening. Active listening is so important to so much of what we do. Okay, listening is not just done with our ears. We have to truly be asking questions as we're listening. We have to be looking at body language. That's why one thing, Boots, you're making the comment about YouTube and all. I think that's one of the reasons why we run into issues on YouTube so much, is because a lot of times body language is not part of our discussion. Okay, we're dealing with things this way. There's other issues, I think, on top of it, to be honest, but active listening is a huge part of it, because through active listening, you try to start hearing what's being said, but in an unbiased way. That's the hard part. How do you listen unbiased? Because all of us have biases, right? Okay, think about how many times on, we'll go with what you were saying, Boots. And if anyone else has ideas that we can throw and change the subject into, we can do that too. YouTube. We all have our friends on YouTube and all that. So when we start listening to things, we immediately become biased, right? Okay, I mean, you immediately go into what I call my mama loco mode. Okay, I go into like a mama bear mode. Oh my gosh, don't you dare go after one of my good friends or something like that. I love my friends and I'm going to protect my friends and stuff like that. But are you truly listening unbiased by doing that? And so active listening requires you to be listening to what's being said, not what you think people are going to tell you, but what is actually being said. Try to understand what it is that the person is trying to communicate with you. We kind of did a live long time ago about listening and arguments and stuff like that. Long time ago. In fact, when I started going through all this, I was like, oh, wow, I forgot about that live a long time ago, where we talked about dealing and getting over fights and all. As you're listening and actively listening, notice the feelings you have, because yes, you're being unbiased as you listen. You're listening to the actual words. You're listening to what the person is trying to say. But that does not mean that you are not going to have personal thoughts, feelings, emotions. You're not going to have judgments of your own. You're going to have those things. That's part of being an individual. You're going to have those things. So listen to those. As you're listening and you hear someone talking or saying something, listen to what it is they're trying to explain. Okay. And if it makes you mad, take note of it. Don't act on it right away, but take note of it. And make a mental note, that way that you can then later on come back to them and say, okay, I know we were talking about this the other day, but I had, this is the way that I see what you're talking about right now. Okay, for example, when mom was talking to the cash person at cash register, I would have gone to her, yeah, mom, I understand you were trying to do that because you're proud of me or whatever, but some of what you were saying was kind of hitting a nerve on me right now because it's an area I'm not happy about in my own life. Okay, considering jobs and stuff like that. And I wish things were a little different right now in that area, or things like that. So you're able to explain to them why you are feeling the way that you are feeling. You do need to bring it up. You need to make sure you bring it up. Okay, but it should not be coloring your experience as you're living through the incident. So ask them, what is the other person feeling? Maybe they're saying something that's upsetting you right now because they themselves are upset about something at that moment. Okay, maybe you're talking about something that reminds them about something that upsets them. And so you end up getting this back and forth. My brother and I do this one all the time, okay, where we'll be talking about something that happened when we were kids, okay, that upset both of us. But we end up getting into this almost one-upmanship about it, okay? Who did it hurt worse? rather than recognizing both of us were actually hurt by it. And so that was something that I've actually had to address with my brother. That some of the incidents that we had, it's not about saying, oh, yeah, well, that upset me also. It's more about saying, I understand it upset you. Yeah, this has upset me also. And I can understand why it upset you as much as it did, because this is how I felt too. And then we're able to work through some of the issues there. And especially involving like abuse, for example. I had, when talking with my brother, okay, because some of the abuse issues I had to deal with was around a babysitter years and years ago. And that brought up different emotions between him and I. And all because, of course, he's the brother who tries to protect. So, see, you run into different things like that. But it's important to understand how those, if we're going back, it doesn't mean one person's emotions matter less than the other. It's recognizing both of those sets. So, also don't take it personally if they don't agree with you. This is the next part about active listening. When you're actively listening, you may recognize the person doesn't agree with what you're saying. They may be telling you, you know what? Yeah, well, that's great, but I think, you know what? It should not be a problem for this to have happened. And it's okay for people not to agree with us. That's part of what's great about living in this country, is we don't all agree with each other. Okay, my best friend in my life, he and I don't agree on a lot of things, and that's part of what makes us friends, because we're able to deal with it together. I know when he sits there and says, "Oh well, I believe this and this," it has nothing to do about me. It's just his own beliefs. So don't take those things personally. Okay, explain to them, let them know how you feel, because that might be a subject that the two of you probably don't want to talk about. There are subjects that I do not talk to my friends about because I know it could cause problems there. So, next, don't make assumptions about what other people mean. This is a huge one, gang. Okay. Back to the four agreement. Okay, our agreements. Okay, don't make assumptions about what other people are thinking, because our assumptions, again, are taking our way of thinking and putting it into someone else's mouth. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to be wrong. I got news for you. Okay, I find most of the time, okay, yes, even if you know the person, there's a good chance that you're going to be wrong when you make an assumption. And so this is a habit that many of us do. Most of us do it without even noticing we're doing. Okay, when our kids come home from school and make a comment about how they were doing in school, and maybe they did not do well on a test at school, okay, we may be jumping to an assumption that, yeah, that's because they're not paying attention or anything like that. And yet later on, we might find out it's where they're sitting in the class, or maybe they have dyslexia or stuff like that, but we're making the assumptions rather than trying to understand where they're coming from. We tend to, as people, assume a lot of times when we get mad in a conversation with other people, we tend to assume that the other person wanted us mad. And most times they don't. The majority of the time, our friends don't want us mad. Strangers don't want us mad. Okay, but in our head, we kind of get that thought going. Okay, and it's just something hard to let go of, especially, gang, if you come from an abusive background. If a person is coming from an abusive background, this assumption bit becomes even more dangerous at times, because when you grow up in an abusive environment, many times there is malicious intent behind comments, actions, things like that, right? So if there's that malicious intent due to an abusive environment, and that's all you know growing up, that's going to make it even more so. As an adult, you're expecting everything's going to be negative against you. Everything everyone else is going to do is going to be to hurt you, because that's what it was like when you were a child, right? And yet it's not. In reality, most people are not. In our adult life, you don't see as many people with the malicious intent. And all life has changed at that point. So, what are some of the things you can do so you're not making, hey, Amy, love you, my dear, and I love you, love you. How can we stay away from the assumptions? Um, Ask questions, restate. One of the things I've been doing in the last 6 months is restating things. I've really tried hard on this. If I am hearing things and I'm trying to truly understand what's going on, I will say, okay, I know, I want to make sure I'm not assuming this incorrectly. It sounds to me like this is what you're trying to tell me. Okay. And I'm trying to do that more and more, because it does help. Because a lot of times, not always, but you know what? Say half half. You may be off. I may be off. And I may have thought the person is talking about this, but they're talking about that. Now, the key when you're doing this, though, is to not get hurt and take it personally when you don't read what that person is trying to say. A lot of us, especially here on YouTube, I've discovered, really love to say that we're intuitive and we understand where people are coming from. I mean, how many of you guys, put a 1 in chat if you guys have heard in the last week someone make a comment about how intuitive they are and how they understand where people are coming from, things like that. Put a 2 if that's not something you ever hear here on YouTube. I swear I hear it all the time. All the time. Oh yeah, I'm very intuitive and I know exactly what this person is trying to say and stuff. Yeah, Oscar, there you go. It's something that, and I've said it. And yet when I actually ask people, oh, okay, so what I think you're trying to tell me is this? Yeah, about half the time I'm right, but yeah, there's maybe about half the time that I'm not right. And it says nothing bad about me. Okay, that I had it wrong. And that's what the hard part is. You've got to go easy on yourself. You are taking that step to try to clarify what that person is saying, what is important to that person. And that's more important anytime than being intuitive. Okay, finding out the truth is what matters. And so ask the questions. Clarify it, get a full understanding of what that person's trying to say to you before you go jumping to reacting. Next, take a breath. This is, we don't like silence. I hate silence. If you've ever been in a discussion with me on panels, you know, Sleuth, Bop, you both know this very well about me. If there is silence on panel, I'm filling it. I don't do silence well. Most of us don't do silence well. Okay, where as soon as it goes more than 3 seconds with silence, we're all of a sudden thinking, oh my gosh, what do I need to say? What do I need to say? What can I say to the person? What do I need to bring up? Our mind is moving at that speed. But sometimes just take that breath. Taking that breath is going to give you a second to think before you react. It's going to give you that second to figure out what to say, how to say it. Do you need to take a break? All those things are going to come from that moment. Okay, what's going on with it? Now, when you're taking a breath, gang, important, because actually, how many of you guys have ever used, put a 1 in chat if you've ever used deep breathing as a way to ground yourself? Maybe you've been into a therapist before and they tell you, okay, if you start getting anxious, nervous, just start doing deep breathing. Okay, ground yourself, put your feet on the ground and just start in, hold, out. Okay, got a couple people who have done the deep breathing. There's a reason why doctors and therapists teach people deep breathing. When a person practices deep breathing using their diaphragm in the correct way and all, it actually releases endorphins. Okay. It's also the same thing when you're giving birth and you're being taught do the breathing and all. You are, hey, Nicole, welcome, 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 Nicole. No worries about being late, my dear. I'm just happy you're here. Taking those deep, deep breaths help us, whether it's giving birth or, okay, having an anxiety attack or whatever, it's increasing the endorphins in our body. And if we're at this point where we're reacting, okay, we're doing that impulsive reacting that I'm talking about, we need that second to kind of allow the positivity to clear our head because the impulsiveness is tending to go the other direction, right? So you do those times just to think. And the breathing, great. JP, Oscar there. JP is. Adult JP, you were missed, my dear. Hello, hello. Um, Different people have different ways of doing the breathing. You can put any number you want to it. 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 7, 9, whatever you want. Keep it easy. Find a number that works for you. Okay, because of my pulmonary embolisms, it's shorter for me now. But you're going to take however those. How am I? Oh, you know what, JP? I think you may have gotten a gifted membership. We actually, we have had, Lone Wolf has been giving out, oh my God, just such a sweetheart, memberships. And I think you got one of those. So it might have been last week, actually. So breathe in for, say, 3 seconds. So you're going to go breathe in 3 seconds, hold for 3, out for 3. So in 3, hold for 3, out. So you do that a couple times. That was a really quick version of it. Repeat it. In, hold, out. In, hold, out. You're going to find yourself getting more. You do the 4, 2, 6. See, Nicole, see, and that's it. And every one of us have something that works for us. But when you do that, Nicole, do you find it helps you when you actually do the breathing? I've literally checked my pulse and seen how, as I do it, my pulse lowers. My oxygen goes up because I'm usually at 91 to 93% oxygen at all times. And I can actually get it up to 98. Yes, there you go, Nicole. So see, it's a great thing. Savage, my watch. Yes, thank you, Savage. Oh my gosh, I had forgotten about that. Yeah, if you have an Apple Watch or Fitbit, I think has it, they have a breathing program there that will actually set it. And it actually does a tapping on your hand to let you know, okay, breathe in. And then it does all this stuff and reminds you. Breathe app is great also. Yes. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Savage, both of you guys. Breathing is key, guys. It really does make a difference. It gives you the time while you're breathing to think things through. It helps get the endorphins into your body, so you get the happy chemicals, and it there's certain automatic responses in our body that breathing will kick off for us. So next, and now we're getting into some of the harder stuff to do. Identify what it is you're feeling. This is hard for a lot of people, especially those of you who may have had a rough growing up that was not focused on understanding your emotions. One of the things that every parent's job is to help their children understand their emotions. If you think about it, you're, as a parent, you're helping your child to understand when they're 2.5 or 3. Okay, what is it you're feeling right now? Okay, are you mad? Tell mommy, are you mad right now? Or are you angry? Are you hurt? All right, and you're going through those types of questions. JP needs a cool room with good airflow. I have to place myself in a calm place. Yes. Yes. But what's great is I'm looking at you guys, each of you have a different way of doing it, but you found the way that works for you. And that's what it's about. I have a piece of paper here somewhere. I was cleaning up and it fell off my wall that actually has the senses, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 with the senses. And I used to have it up on the wall right there. and it fell off the other day, and now I'm like, where the hell did I put it? And so it's here, so right here. You can see it fell. It needs reprinted. There it is, right there. And that's my grounding technique, and I keep it right here by my computer. So if I find myself triggering, it's right there for me. And also, hey, Ellen G. Hey, yo, you're saying hi to Nicole. I'm like, I know a couple Nicoles. Did another Nicole come in? No, this is the Nicole. Love you, Nicole. So identifying feelings, really hard for some of us. Many of us needed to get into therapy to understand our feelings because we weren't given the chance to learn those. I was lucky. Yes, I had trauma, but I had a very great mom and dad, so I had support in a different way. Um, but I was also I did not put words to my emotions because I was kind of scared of those emotions growing up. And but it's important to have those, know what they are. So if you're in the middle of an argument with someone, okay, or someone's triggering something with you, you truly need to understand what it's triggering in you. Is it triggering anger? Is it triggering sadness? Is it triggering pain? Is it triggering calmness? Is it triggering peace? So many different words, so many different types of feelings that we don't really put together in our head. So Amy dealing with teenagers is one. Oh my gosh. There are some times that I'm very happy I did not have any children. I really wish I had had kids. But yeah, teenage boys would have been a handful for sure. For sure. I dealt with my brother and all his friends. That was enough. And so, one of the things I think all of us really truly need to do is develop a vocabulary of emotional words. And there is, if anyone's interested, I can post it. There's a list of emotions. Because honestly, if I asked all you guys right now, let's type out a list of emotions right now. I guarantee you we'd probably get about 10. And then people would be like, oh shit, I'm not sure what other emotions there are. Okay, anger. Oh no, I said that one already. Sadness. Oh no, I said that one already. And we'd start running into that. So there's actually, you can find online where people have created whole lists, 30, 40, 50 different emotions for you to recognize. Okay, Amy, what do you do when a person's presence makes you extremely angry because they did something to you purposely humiliating? Girl, that one, that one is rough. You need number one, okay, and we'll come back to this here. This is something I know a lot of people have had to deal with at one time or another. Guys, if you got ideas, throw them into chat. Number one, you need your boundaries in place. No one has an excuse to purposely humiliate another person. There's no excuse on earth that makes that okay. No reason whatsoever. Okay. Now, there might be a reason in their head where they jump to that level. Maybe not believing in themselves. Maybe someone hurt them, whatever, but I don't care. Okay, you guys know what I say. I don't care about the hurt people, hurt people. No, we make a decision to hurt people. Okay, that is a decision each of us makes. And also, I don't believe that. Hurt people in my eyes, and there's a whole quote that I love about it, okay, about how hurt people don't choose to hurt people. Hurt people choose to help people. Okay, hurt people decide to be there to help support people. Things like that. They're the ones who become therapists. They're the ones who become doctors, teachers, things like that. Yeah. And Amy, what you almost have to do in a case like that is understand what does it, what is that friendship worth for you? Okay. Is it worth, because they made their ego, like you said, if their ego is too big to say sorry, they may never. I had a dad who I saw cry once in my life. He never would recognize he did wrong. It was the military years, plus he was okay in seminary for a while also when he was younger. He never really learned how to do those things. And I had to learn that I had to decide what was important to me: the friendship with him, the relationship with him, or getting, I'm sorry for not having a closer relationship, or whatever the things are that I dealt with that. Only you can answer that. And then once you make that decision, do you keep the friendship? Even if you keep a friendship, in my eyes, if they've hurt you like that, yes, you may be able to say, okay, I'm okay staying friendship, keeping this friendship and all, but moving forward, I've got these boundaries in place. And yeah, that person may have lost a lot of trust with me. It may not be as open of a relationship as it used to be because you've been hurt. So, and they need to realize, okay, if they wanted something different out of the relationship, then they need to realize they need to say sorry also. And but in the meantime, that has affected your relationship. Now, on the other hand, if that relationship and what's happening is continuing to hurt you day in, day out, if you, every time you are around them, you find yourself going deeper and deeper into a rut, feeling yourself being eaten up each time you're around them and stuff like that, then it might not be worth having that friendship anymore. Because again, you got to put yourself first. You don't want the friendship back. And there you go. I want this person completely away, and they go everywhere you go. Okay. And that's hard, especially here on YouTube. I don't know if that's okay, who you're talking about is someone from YouTube, but I do know that happens here on YouTube a lot. Okay. I mean, there's certain people that I could talk about right now that I'm like, I have given everything in me for, and that person is never, ever going to understand what it is I've tried to help them with. And they're going to see life in a certain direction moving forward. And I just have to decide, okay, my boundaries are in place. If they show up where I am, they have the freedom of showing up wherever I am. They do. However, they don't have a right to expect me to talk to them. So those are the things. The hard part is learning not to say stuff back again, especially if they're trying to get you going back and forth. Because especially on YouTube, there's some people, they're going to want to keep pushing that back and forth. And the hardest thing in the world is not to just pull in a couple friends who, when that friend, ex-friend shows up in a chat and is trying to build those things, who can help support you, okay, who know what's going on and can help support you and help give you the positive focus that you need to get through that time in that chat or wherever, or leave the chat. But you have the right to be in that chat also, to be honest. So it's all these things, figuring out exactly where your boundaries are. And in the end, we cannot, guys, I wish we could change other people, but we can't. I would love to change certain things about certain people so badly, but I can't change them. I can't change them. I can't get them to accept something that they don't want to accept. And also, all I can do is set my boundaries in place for what I am going to expect from myself moving forward. And I work in that direction. And I know my friends know who I truly am. So that works. Boundaries are fantastic in the bushes. They really are. Once you start working with them and learning how to work with them, gather your friends to help you with that boundary. Okay, and the hard part, especially in a boundary like this, you don't need friends who are going to help you talk about the negative side of it, because then you just keep focused on the negative rather than saying, hey, that person's gone. Because that's, if I talk about the person who upsets me over and over and over, they still have control over me. The best way for me to get back at it is take all that control away and give it back to myself and not think about them. Okay. And yeah, Amy, I think I know what you're talking about, honestly. And yeah, I think honestly, certain, and I may be wrong again. Okay, I'll talk to you offline. And, but some people, especially as we get older, we are very set in our ways, and they're not going to change. They're not going to change. They're going to see things from their point of view, how they see life, how they see what's ever going on in the world. and that's where they go. JP, life is an inward reflection of who we believe we are. We are all who we are for a good reason, and it should be this way as a natural order. Yep. And we all are good people. Every single person here is good, is good. And so you just have to make a decision. What is important to you? Okay. Where are your boundaries? And let go. Let go, knowing we can't change other people. There's one person, you know who okay, that I wish would have understood people cared about them and were there for them and all that, but I've got to understand that person's not going to recognize it. And I got to let go. And I got to move forward and see how that goes. So, and that person will continue doing what they're doing. By the way, guys, just saying that person is not in this chat whatsoever. This person doesn't even come to my channel anymore. And also, I very seldom talk about specific people, but there was one person that everyone in the community was trying to support. And unfortunately, it doesn't always work that way. And we just have to take the control we have over ourselves. We can't control what another person does, how they react, how they do things, but we can control how it hurts us, how we grow from it, and what we're going to do moving forward. And so pull your circle of friends together who are going to help you make that a reality. And you work it from that direction. So I hope that helps a little bit. So with the feelings, and this is also a good thing here, because as you're dealing with a friendship like this and a friendship falling apart, I did do the live a couple weeks ago, actually. In fact, here we go again. Robbie suggested the live about friendships that, fall apart and grieving those friendships and everything. Identifying those emotions you're feeling as that happens is really important. So one of the things I would suggest all of us can do, every one of us, by the way, Rosalie, I love you, girl, is over the course of 30 days, open up a folder in your phone or a folder on a notebook if you're a handwritten person or whatever. And every time you feel an emotion, a feeling, write it down. Name the emotion. I felt anger. Okay. Then explain, because what happens, the more we can recognize feelings and stuff like that, the more our brain will automatically learn how to deal with them. Okay. Certain parts of our brain deal better with different emotions. So if I know I am emotionally hurt, certain parts of my brain are going to react to try to help heal me. If I'm dealing with anger, a different part will do that. Hey, Rosaline, I love you, my dear. Hey, Rosaline, it's all of us. All of us have these things. It was hard for me to deal with that a couple months ago when I had to recognize that about the friendship a couple months ago. It was really hard for me. That's why even like this, this whole subject came out of Mom and me in the last couple weeks. And it's like, okay, I guess the world's trying to tell me something. When all of a sudden Julia talked about this the other day, I was like, okay, something's telling me I need to be dealing with this. So you write down this thing, develop the vocabulary, write down, what the emotion is that you're feeling, anger, pain, whatever. You can pull up, in fact, someone I noticed earlier, I forgot to read it, had done a whole list of some great things. Here we go, Louisiana girl, bingo. Okay, frustration, anger, sadness, happiness, joy, peace, love, sorrow, empathy, kindness, remorse, stubborn, standing your ground, mama bear, forgiveness, etc. So good, so good. So if you can write those emotions down, say you're out with your boss and your boss pisses you off, or boss says something that makes you feel some way, write it down. Write down not only the name of it, but what led you to feeling that way at that time. What led you feeling? What was it that made you realize that you were feeling angry or whatever? Rosalind, I have become more aware of microaggressions. That's a good way to put it. That is a great way to put it. Actually, mods, if you want to grab JP's and drop it, go for it. No problem. I don't mind anyone's links being dropped. So I just only have so many that I have as linkies type things that I could do to Batissimo. Because yeah, that's my thing. I don't get angry. I don't. I have a problem getting angry. But what I do have are these little microaggressions, and I am recognizing those. And so after identifying, okay, feelings and stuff like that, the next thing is identifying the triggers. So you're recognizing the emotions now. So now what happened? What triggered that? Okay, I got angry. Okay, well, I got angry when someone, okay, and what I did went, how it showed, okay, the trigger of it, I got angry. It showed when I got pissed off and I walked out of the room. Okay, next, what are the reasons why? Well, my mom was talking about something that really made me feel like a failure or something like that. So kind of going through there, figuring out what it is. You felt this way. This is how it showed. And you felt that way probably because it's figuring it triggered this feeling inside yourself. What is it? Because the more you understand why something's being triggered, okay, the better you can deal with it moving. So you do these things for 30 days where you're making a list of all the emotions you feel, what triggered those emotions, how you showed those emotions, and then what was the underlying thing behind it. It's a lot of work, I know. But by having those things together, you can start to plan for in the future when those things happen. Okay, you can start knowing that, okay, when someone, okay, makes a comment that makes me feel like a failure, I'm going to react this way. So how can I stop myself this time? Because I've addressed it already. And next, communicate your experience effectively. And yeah, Rosalind, you've been doing some great work. You've been doing some over the years. And see, that's the thing. A lot of us think just because we're getting older that we stop, okay, growing. We reach the end of it. No. To be honest, I'm finding the older I get, the more I grow. To be honest, I actually find myself wanting to grow more and more as I get older. And I don't know why, but that's the way I'm finding it. So communicating your experience. Okay. A lot of times, okay, say you're talking with someone and you can feel it triggering that reaction deep in you, and you know you're going to react, impulsively react out. Okay, understanding and communicating that before it blows up is key. And blaming, by the way, JP, if we can't get it here, I will definitely during Cantina we'll work it out and we'll find a way to make it work for Cantina. There's two things that we tend to do when we get into this type of situation. One is blaming people and the other is shaming them. And this is something I think we definitely see here in YouTube, very much so. Blaming usually involves assigning fault to the other person. So we're going through a discussion and we're finding ourselves reacting because we're getting angry, we're getting hurt, whatever the emotions are. So we start assigning blame to the other person. It's, for example, okay, maybe you miss an appointment in the morning. Okay, I've done this one with mom actually lately. Okay, we are late and I miss a doctor's appointment. And I'm like, well, you know what? If you had just been ready 5 minutes earlier, we would have been okay. Okay, we would never have done that. That's what we're talking about blaming. On UH, hell yeah, we definitely do it. We definitely do it where we start blaming the other person for what's going on. And again, we can't change the other person. Okay, it doesn't make what they've done any better or worse, but it's their actions. Only they can be held okay. That's their issue to deal with, and if they choose or not to address it, that's their thing. The other is shaming the person, so tearing down their character, tearing down their identity, who they are, as a way to get even for the reaction. So people who get upset, and this definitely happens on YouTube all over the place, where all of a sudden someone says something about you and you want to respond to them because it's bull crap and you know it's bull crap and you're into that reactive zone. So what you do in exchange is go back and we hear all the things from body shaming to sexual identity shaming, religion shaming, all these different things. Okay, that's what it comes down to. That's where we end up with issues. And also, what happens when we're blaming or shaming people is we end up hurting not only that person, but other people also. Okay. Blaming and shaming, basically, it makes them feel hurt. So now we're into this fighting back and forth. Not only was the person who was talking and saying this stuff, who may have been just as much at fault, probably was, okay, but now we've got this tit for tat thing going on, back and forth thing. And so, yeah, Oscar, exactly. And it hurts. It hurts when someone does make those comments, especially when it's someone that you love. And, but again, recognizing that unfortunately people are going to have their own beliefs and stuff like that. And you can't change them, but you can change how it affects you. Okay, and things like that. And it also makes people resistant to sharing their experience. So, for example, Oscar, you're talking about with your mom and everything, right? For those of you, Oscar was talking about in chat, about his sexual orientation and his mom not agreeing with him. And that hurts. And that's part of the other side of it. When you get something like that and someone goes the blaming route, shaming route, it makes the person very resistant to talking about things or fixing the relationship in the future. So how do you work about that? How do you, right now, Oscar is probably like, oh, do I want to go talk to my mom about this right now because I might get hurt worse or stuff like that. There's all these things that go in with blaming and shaming. And last, it can damage long-term self-confidence. If you are, I'll say the body shaming one. If you are body shaming people, you can actually, even if the person feels comfortable about themselves, it could, over a period of time, create a long-term self-confidence issue with people. And so those are the things that we don't want to be doing in this communication. When we're talking to people, we don't want to be going the route of blaming and shaming people. We want to be able to explain to people how we feel when they hurt us, but without resorting to blaming or shaming them. So if someone comes after you saying something and you want to come back at them with, well, I know you are, but what am I type thing. Instead, one of the best things you can do, and this we talked about in another live, is a communication model that goes, when you, I feel, because I want. So those are 4 sentences, basically, you're going to deal with. So when you comes to telling them what happened. Oscar, I hope you don't mind me using your comments right now for this. Please let me know if you don't, but I know I'm pretty sure you're pretty okay with it. And because it's an important one for all of us to realize. And because all of us have had to deal with something and people judging us at one time or another. So in a case like that, it's coming back, and like I said, his mom, making comments about, because of his sexual orientation, being against religion and stuff like that, it hurts him. So if you were doing reactive emotional reaction, he could be coming back and cussing her out and saying all these things that hurt her, or maybe she's overweight and he goes after her weight or things like that. Okay, that would be emotional reaction. Instead, what he could do is coming in and saying, when you. So, Mom, when you make comments saying that I am going against the Bible because of my sexual identity, okay, my choices, okay, who I was born as, okay, I feel. That's next step. I feel like you can't accept me for who I am, that you are judging me for who I am. And also, when you, I feel, now because, okay, I feel like you're judging me and who I am because I love you. You're my mom and I care about you and I love you and I want to make you proud as your son. And it's hard to do that right now because I feel like I'm failing this or whatever. Those have to be your words. I'm just coming up with words right now. And last, I want. Okay, I want you and I to get to a place that, okay, fine, you can have your beliefs, I can have my beliefs, but I want you to accept me as your son. I want you and I to be able to choose that we both can have our beliefs and things, but please don't hold it against me anymore. Okay, please don't bring it up over and over or things like that. So that's the when you, I feel, because I want. You could do it in other ways. Okay, say you have a husband. Hey, Natasha. Say you have a husband or a wife who, okay, comes home, opens up the door, closes the door, sits down on a chair, and doesn't even say hi or anything. Okay, and that's upsetting you. Reaction, okay, a more emotionally reactive would get mad and you'd end up with this huge fight and all. That type of communication pattern could be something like, when you come home and you don't greet me, you just come home and you sit down, I feel like I'm overlooked. I feel like I don't exist when you walk in the door because, you know, I was really looking forward to seeing you tonight. I wanted to talk to you about some things. Um, then moving on with I want. Maybe in the future, I would love it if you and I could spend 5 minutes together when you get home. So that's that communication process there. And no problem, sleuth. I know the out. What? Thank you. Sorry. Sorry. I got to switch this over real quick. Scotty, you're talking Morris. Scotty Morris was just found safe. Sorry. Guys, prayers powerful. I'm going to say it. I know not everyone has their own beliefs and all that. Prayer is strong. Community. Oh my god. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, Louisiana girl. I'm like, yeah. Whoo, boy, oh boy, oh boy. I was so worried about all of us. For those of you who didn't know, this is the teenager who had disappeared after he wore this t-shirt that had some punishment related type things, okay, about lying, still like things like that. And he walked out of the house wearing shorts and a t-shirt in the middle of the winter. And a lot of people have been really, 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 really worried about him. Gosh, that's amazing. That's amazing, guys. That's really amazing. Oh my god, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Whew, oh, prayers your direction, Natasha. Prayers your direction, my dear. I'm sorry about that. I there's going to be a lot of things that will be looked at, I'm sure, with that, trying to figure out things. Guys, anytime there's a missing person, whether they're found alive or no longer with us, the story is not over. Their story is not over. Whether it's family having to move forward without their loved one in their life, or a person, even if they weren't hurt or anything like that, they have to deal with trust issues, fears, abandonment, all these things. Those things go on no matter what. So I always ask people, please keep them in your prayers. If you are not the praying type, send them light. Send them light, because it does the same thing. Okay. Just keep them in your heart, and because they need that right now. Oh gosh, he was found wearing the same clothing. Wow. Wow. He had to be so, yeah, I can't wait till we hear more. Was he in someone's house? I know the police had wondered if he had gotten his way into someone's house, because it is spring break there right now. And people are on vacation, so he could, in theory, have broken into a house and been there until they got home. Um, or if a friend had, there's going to be a lot of questions, a lot of responsibilities to look into. And I'm hoping all that happens. I'm hoping they get the support. I hope he gets the support he needs. Because everything we were told is what an amazing young man he is. So I'm just so happy I am so happy he's alive right now, because there's a lot of us who start questioning things, and we don't want to go in the direction of thinking someone's gone, but we can't help it at times too. So this, okay. During Cantina, we'll come back and visit this during Cantina. And because I do need to take a little break, so I'm going to finish this up real quick. And then during Cantina, hopefully we'll have updates and all about what's going on here. We'll still have fun, guys, but we will definitely come back and talk about the case too. So communicate your things. One other thing, take a 15-minute break. If you feel yourself starting to trigger, okay, say, Oscar, you're getting ready to talk to your mom, and you're worried you might blow up or something. No, I want to be hijacked for that. I want to be hijacked for things like that. No, that's hijack me for it. Hijack me for that one, for sure, Sleuth, for sure. I'm so happy you did, actually. I'm so happy, because there's a lot of people sitting here in this chat who were waiting for that news, and I'm happy you were able to get it for them. So thank you. Thanks. Take the 15 minutes. Okay. If you feel like you're getting ready to, because of getting ready to blow up or anything like that, okay, because you are emotionally reacting, tell the person, you know what, I need a couple minutes. Can you give me, and give them though this. Tell them the time you will return. Don't just say, I need a break. Okay. Tell them, I will be back in 5 minutes. I will be back in 10 minutes. And do it. Come back. Finish the conversation. If you need to take multiple comments, no problem. No problem, Louisiana girl. Sorry, my dear. I'm not even sure how long I'll handle Cantina tonight, because I don't know if you notice, I'm hoping I'm not coming down with a fever now, but I'm getting that feeling. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But we'll be in touch, LG, for sure. So take that time so that you can calm down. You can see things from a different, you can look at what's being said. You can ask the questions and stuff to yourself. And then you come back after a couple minutes in a different place, a different headset. And the last two are things most of us kind of just expect. You need to, I don't know about you guys, but if I'm tired, if I haven't been sleeping, if I haven't been eating, drinking water, any of those things, I am not at my best. I will blow up so much quicker on someone if I'm exhausted. Okay. If I'm not taking my vitamins, if I'm not doing all the things that I need to do to keep myself at prime operating ability. I will find myself overreacting. I will find myself emotionally reacting, all those things so much quicker. So make sure you're sleeping, make sure you're eating, drinking your water, things that you're taking care of yourself. And last, guys, I kind of said this at the beginning. Sometimes all of us can reach a place in our life where we need help. We need more than just friends to lean on. We need more than people to be a shoulder. We need someone who has had training on how to deal with things, who has listened to others go through things many times and has other ideas on how to deal with something. That's when we go to a therapist. And it's one of the most freeing things when you find a therapist that you like. And yes, you may have to shop. You may have to shop around. You may have to go through 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But you matter enough to find one that's good for you. You matter enough to find someone who can actually get you to the place where you can move forward. I did just get the message, my dear. I'll listen to it in a bit. So find that therapist. Talk with them. They may be at the point where at the beginning they want to see you once or twice a week, and then over time it goes out to once a month or whatever. But even when you don't see them, like me, I don't see my therapists regularly at all anymore. But they're still there. And even if I haven't seen them in, like right now, it's probably been 3 or 4 years. I know I can call them up at a heartbeat if something starts to become too much for me and my friends to handle. Too much for where I know I need to have someone to lean on who knows what they're doing. And um, and you know what, Natasha, and that's one reason why I wanted to address that. YouTube family are amazing. They are. They are truly amazing. And one day we're going to talk about this subject. Um, they're great. They're there to listen. They're there to support you. They will always be there because they love you and they care about you, just like your real family does. But it's important for us to realize two things, actually. Number one, they are not professionals. Sometimes what we're dealing with is so serious that, or our YouTube family doesn't, is in a bad place themselves, because we're all dealing with so many. And I'm not saying, guys, I'm honestly not saying don't talk with your YouTube family and be friends with your, okay, and lean on them and all, because that's what we do. But recognizing sometimes our YouTube family, think about how many times you talk with your friends and all of your friends are dealing with a lot of shit. Okay, maybe they're dealing with issues at home. Okay, maybe they're dealing with this or that or whatever. We all know most of us are dealing with a lot of things at one time. And they aren't professionals. And the other thing is, sometimes we get to the point where our friends are there, but our friends might feel like we want to help, but we don't know what else we can say. And that's when you need to involve a professional, someone who can understand above and beyond, who doesn't have to worry about the friendship side of thing also. And so LG, don't you freaking worry. No, I'm not talking, girl. You know I don't mind talking to people at all. I'm just saying this because a lot of people, a lot of times, don't realize this with the therapist bit. A lot of people, okay, think, I know I did this myself, that therapy, oh, I can skip therapy because I have it. No, I think that's why I think it was so great, LG, what you told us earlier this week. I think that was amazing. That was amazing. We are always going to be here for each other, no matter what. We help each other. Okay. But it's also knowing when to put yourself to that level where you're taking care of yourself. Okay. It's hard. It's a hard discussion to have. It's really a hard discussion to have. And but it's an important discussion because we all do care about each other, and we would never want to see anyone hurt or thinking badly about what other people think or things like that, because we care about each other. We care about each other too much. So yeah, no, LG, I don't want you even second guessing it. Don't you worry. Don't you worry, girl. Okay? Not at all. So, and you guys know me. I say it the way it is, and that's why I'm who I am. Is I will say I I'm there and I will always be there for everyone, but I will also say things the way, because that's how I like it. To be honest, I want people to talk to me if they have problems so we can solve those problems. So I love you both. Okay, yeah, no, I don't want you guys thinking that whatsoever. So, and that's it. Sometimes, honestly, actually, LG, what you're saying here, you hit on something here. There's different levels. Therapy, working on issues, things like that, is not a one thing. You can have friends you lean on while having a therapist. That's how I did. I was actually managing, okay, that Delphi group while going to therapy. And because they all work together. They work together. They help things, because I would recognize things when I was in the Delphi group and be like, oh, wow, I didn't realize that's going on. And then I could go to my therapist and say, you know what, I just realized the other day I was writing a post and I noticed this about it. It works together. They do. It works together. So please never think anything bad. That's what I know. That's what we talk. That's why I have Discord, is so we can talk with each other in a private place and we can all support each other. And so, but it's good for us to have these talks at times so we realize when we need to do other things. Oh, I love, oh, gee, I'm so proud of you. Honestly, I am so proud of you. And I'm still here. I'm still here. You can have friends that you lean on while also seeing therapy. You can. In fact, if anything, that's going to make you even stronger in the end, to be honest, because now you're looking at it from two different angles, which is even better. So I love you. I love you, LG. I really do. So, anyhow, I'm going to be going live in 23 minutes with Cantina. So I need to go get myself something to eat real quick and some water, because I do not need, well, plus half my coffee is cold now. So I love all you guys. I'll see you at Cantina. Guys, I will let you know. Probably going to be a 2-hour one tonight, or if not even earlier if I start getting sick. But I will be starting, at least we'll start Cantina. We'll start Cantina and see how it goes. So love you guys tons and tons. Aloha and mahalo. Be good to yourself, guys. Be good to yourself, because that's where it comes down to. We all love you. We all want to make sure everyone takes care and is there and knows they're not alone. So I love each and every one of you, and I'll talk to you later. Aloha. Mahalo.